Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Cellarmen's Folly podcast. This is episode number 22. It's just me and Colin today. Caleb is playing, he's a rock and roll star, and he's playing a gig somewhere. But the second half of the podcast, you'll see him, and we'll do the mystery whiskey segment like we usually do. I kind of feel bad for you, Colin, because you're getting ready to sip on mystery whiskey. And then I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, but there's now going to be great anticipation. Wow.
Yeah. Right. You're probably excited to drink whiskey. And I was like,
I was excited to drink whiskey, and all of a sudden my hopes and dreams got shattered. So I'm going to have to find an alternative, like drink my own whiskey that I picked out for myself.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's totally okay.
That's what I'm doing. I'm drinking Dewar's, actually the white label, which was a mystery whiskey not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And I liked it so much that Molly and I got our own bottle of it. So
that has been a common theme.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of time, I mean, if you think about, I don't know how many mystery whiskeys we've done. We should probably be aware of that. Because you just said, you know, for our whole audience, this is episode 22.
But we didn't do it the first couple months.
We didn't do it the first couple times. So it's probably been like 16 or 17 or so.
Yeah.
And the first, I don't know, 5 or 6 maybe, outside of like, say, Caleb choosing an Ardbeg bottle. A lot of those were things that we'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Just screwing with us. Do not recommend ever trying this. This is the type of thing you want to, you know, put in someone's drink as an April Fool's joke.
Sure.
But lately, all of them have actually been really good.
Yeah, the last like 10 of them probably.
At least the last 10.
Yeah.
Have been like, I would drink this all the time. Like, this is excellent. Highly recommended it. You know? So I don't know if we're gonna get that. Do you know what this one is?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Molly picked it out.
Okay.
Nope, no idea.
All right.
Molly.
So yeah, it could be that, or it could be banana flavored runts.
Oh God, no.
Okay, I guess that was one that we are not recommending. That was probably like 6 or 7 months ago or so.
Yeah, that was a while ago. We've done some pretty funny, crazy ones. The runts, the pickle, obviously, the Tabasco. We've had some.
There's
pretty
the creme
wild
brulee
ones.
one. Yeah. Okay. There's some weird ones in there.
Yeah, and there was ones where we didn't know, but they turned out to be awful, like the 2X IPA aged whiskey from Southern Tier.
Yep. The Southern Tier.
And then there's like the Jameson cold brew, which is like, that's fine, but I don't think we'd buy it, you know, like it'd be great in a coffee. Like if you put that with coffee, it'd be fine. Yeah.
That's not the cocktail that we're trying to go for.
No, absolutely not.
Like your morning coffee.
Right.
So I do like my morning coffee on the weekends though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll have a little bit of Bailey's in it. Just because.
Now do you do whiskey and Bailey's, like a traditional Irish coffee, or do you just do Bailey's?
Sometimes it depends. Sometimes I will do both. Sometimes I will just do Bailey's. It depends on where I left my random bottle of well whiskey in the house the night before. If it's still in the kitchen, like I will actually usually leave that right next to my coffee maker. So you've been in my kitchen. There's a little nook area where there's like I have like my coffee pot, I have my like coffee grinder and stuff like that. And I will keep a bottle of whiskey and a bottle of Kahlua and stuff.
Nice.
And I just keep it there. And so on the weekends, I'll just be like, okay, take this, pour some in. And that's how I'm drinking coffee on Saturday morning.
Nice.
But if I use that whiskey for something else, like if I make a drink the night before or whatever, I put it in my bar, then it's like, oh, well, I got to go all the way to that room to get it. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I guess I'm just going to drink it with Bailey's. But yeah, that's a morning ritual. That might have happened this morning because recording this on Sunday. So that happened. It actually happened a few hours ago.
Yeah. I'm drinking a little bit today. I didn't drink this morning. Actually, I had a busy day already. and we bought some new equipment for the shop.
Yes, we did.
You and Caleb bought the equipment for the shop, and
You found it and you put it in the shop. So.
That's true. It was rough. So my father and I today picked up this big stainless steel table, and it's got storage. It used to be a cooler, but the cooler part doesn't work, but we don't need the cooler part of it. So it's worked out for us. Aurora's Cafe in Mattydale, which is owned by Stephanie and Mike Venezia. And I work with Mike at Stingers, and they're opening a cafe, and they bought it, and the compressor, I guess, went out and it wasn't worth fixing. So thank you to Stephanie and Mike for our nice new table. Cleaned it up when I got to the shop. It looks great. Yeah, it was a lot of work. Thank you to my father, Steve. He's part of the Patreon. He can listen to this, and for letting us borrow your truck and bringing it to the shop in Auburn. Gave him a little bit of whiskey for a thank you. He didn't want gas money or anything. So,
well, you could, if he needs to in a pinch, can pour that into his car, and I'm sure it will fuel it.
Yeah.
You know, it would not be a recommended usage of this product. You should consume it.
Yeah.
But you could, and I guess in theory, that's one way of getting gas money.
Yeah.
Literal gasoline.
Yeah. So it took me a while to get home this morning. So now I'm having a drink, but I can't get too crazy because I do have to work tonight. Actually, it's Beatles night at Singers tonight. So that's why I'm wearing my Beatles shirt. Yeah, that's all I got. You drank earlier. I'm drinking now. That's what we got.
Too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Gotta sell it.
You gotta deliver some
somehow.
Yeah, you got after you deliver some kits, right?
Right. Yeah, today is definitely going to be the monthly kit delivery day.
Yeah, same here. I delivered a couple. I saw my dad today, so I gave him his, and I delivered a few yesterday. Oh, by the way, Steve Peterson was a lucky winner of the extra kit this month. So he said he's going to try to get his fiance in on it, or a good friend Tim, who could be a Patreon member in the future. Or he said he thought it'd be funny if he was double fisting. So it's your kit.
Also viable, you know.
Yes. You can do whatever you like with it, Steve.
This is going to be a cocktail that is probably worth double fisting.
Yes. Yeah. So as many of you know, because many of you have been asking for it for the last year, we are first time we're ever redoing a cocktail.
Actually, it is a 1-year anniversary.
I know.
You did it last August, yeah.
I told Caleb last night at our gig, I said, I was like, next August, you're going to have to do Caleb's Burberita.
Right.
So
it's going to be a thing.
Yes. So your Burberita was a huge success last year, and people keep asking for it. And we don't want to repeat the same drink over and over again. So we thought it'd be kind of cool to switch it up, and how I could do it. But I did take a lot of notes from you, because luckily you wrote out the instructions on how to make the sour mix, and we posted that in the newsletter. And, obviously I was part of the class, so I remember how to make the cocktail, and I took a lot of good things from you, but I've added some special things to it. I've been listening to the Patreon members a lot, in the sour mix. Most of you will hear this after the fact. So I'm not ruining anything except for Colin, but, Colin used a lot of lemons, or no, there was no lemons. There was limes and grapefruit.
It was lime and grapefruit. That was it.
Yeah. I use lime and grapefruit as well. But I also threw a few lemons in and pineapple. So this is going to be so it's a little bit on the sweet end, but I made the simple syrup part because it's not supposed to be just straight sour, which it is sour mix, but you're supposed to sweeten it up a little bit with a little bit of simple syrup.
Yeah.
But instead of doing half and half, like half sugar, half water, I did about 1/3 of the sugar to make it less sweet, because the pineapple already made it sweet.
So that's a 70-30%. Yeah.
So, and it is absolutely, and then I soaked a few jalapenos in there, and I had a trial by error because, error by trial, I forget what the common phrase. Trial by error. I got local jalapenos from the farmer's market, and they are the hottest jalapenos I've ever had in my entire life, which is amazing because
Yeah.
lately, if I go to Wegmans, I feel like jalapenos now are not as hot as they
No, you
once
can just
were.
eat them. You just eat
I
them. And
know.
it's fine. Yeah, yeah.
And I like the taste of jalapenos. They're great, but I like a little kick to my
Yeah, I want to
jalapenos.
cry when I eat my jalapenos.
So, so these ones I have are just, so I made, I tested out sour mix maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I used just regular Wegmans jalapenos. Like, oh, this is really good. So then I started making the batch for the cocktail class, and it was unbearably spicy. Like, there's going to be like you, my father, Kari, maybe the only people that like it. It's going to be too spicy for everybody else. So I had to ditch that. And Molly was actually upset because I'm like, oh man, it's too spicy. So I dumped it out. She goes, I would have used that for a cocktail. Like, why'd you dump it out?
I would drink this stuff. Come on.
So then I was like, okay, I won't use as many seeds. And then I made it and I was like, I still want a little bit of kick. So what I did was I used just the skins or just like the pepper, now no seeds, in to get the jalapeno taste. And then everyone gets like 3 slices of the hot jalapenos. So you can make it as spicy as you want. If you want all 3 in there,
Yeah.
if you want all 3 of them in there, it's going to be hot. And I know a few people are going to do that. But if you want a little bit of a kick, just throw 1 in, And I left the seeds in there. So everyone's getting like hot jalapenos.
That's very exciting. Yeah. Make it to your liking.
And last year when you did it, you made lime salt.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I made grapefruit salt. So I used grapefruit zest.
Yep.
Baked it. I was a little worried
too.
I know. Yeah. It was much easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I did that. And another thing that's very different is that we're using the jalapeno pineapple whiskey. I don't know if we really want to call it jalapeno pineapple because it doesn't really taste like pineapple, but we'll get into that. But that's the cocktail. It doesn't really have a name.
Yeah, the product was never given a name. So
PW1 or 2, I forget which one.
PW1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is the cocktail this month. I'm very excited about it. Also, quick, we shout out a couple new members of the Patreon. We have Teresa Neroni and Joe, her husband Joe. I believe they're sharing the account. All the way from Arizona. Good friends with Molly and Julie, so everyone's kind of know each other. They came and visited us here in Auburn, I don't know, about a month ago, and they liked what they saw with the Cellarmen's Folly, so they joined the Patreon. So thank you so much. You're in the cocktail class here. Also, Molly she needs the rewards this month because she got them to sign up, and Molly's brother, Ted Smithwick, is in the $5 tier. Thank you so much, Ted, for welcome. Now, all these new subscribers, sorry, there's a beep up the window.
I could actually hear that. Yeah.
Wow. You guys can all participate in Whiskey Wednesday, which we could talk about because we did a Whiskey Wednesday not too long ago, and it was like more of a success than I thought it was going to be. Honestly,
it was really fun. It was really fun.
We got to talk to some people who we don't use. We got to talk to Josh Haverlock. Was part of the group. Drew Hainish was part of the group. It was really fun. My father was in North Carolina at the time. He tuned in. John and Becky were in Key West. They tuned in. It was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really fun. And that, I don't know, it's just a chat. Whiskey Wednesdays are just a chat. We're just hanging out, talking about whiskey, talking about whatever people drink. People were drinking vodka, beer.
Whiskey Wednesday is a misnomer because
that's true.
A lot of people were not drinking whiskey. Your dad was bar hopping breweries.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, anything goes.
Yeah. I know like Rick was drinking beer. Kari and Holly were drinking twisted teas, I think. But you know what? It's great. I'm glad. But yeah. What else?
Nothing. I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
Nothing has happened relevant to this business in the last few weeks at all.
Oh my God, dude.
Nothing at all. I mean, I guess there are the 4 or 5 big things that happened that we haven't covered yet that we could talk about.
Yeah. Do you want to start with this? I don't know. I have a lot.
Okay. I guess first things first, here's news. the government has approved our formulas to make how many products?
2 for
Two.
right now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was 2, but I didn't want to say all 3. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? Well, what that means is they have to say yay or nay if you're going to be able to sell a particular spirit, So
Yeah.
just like, the FDA, for example, would, approve the ingredients that go into any, food product, for example.
Mhm.
The government body affectionately known as the TTB, and you might have heard us talk about at one time, they kind of own us, just like they own every distillery, brewery, winery in the country. They have to know exactly what goes into the product. So they need to know, the mash bill of the spirit itself. They need to know, how it's processed. They need to know everything about it. And if they don't like it, they could say, screw you guys, start again.
Yeah.
Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Yeah.
I hope we could collect more than $200 with this because it's an expense. It's a very expensive venture.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had
we spent more we spent more than that on the table today.
yeah, we did. But in any case, yeah, so they officially said yay to 2 of our products. So as you guys know, we have 3 named products, and we're trying to get them all approved one by one. So the 2, Nick, do you want to rattle them off?
Yeah. So the first one, I just have to say before, okay, I'll cut this out. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The 2 that got approved were our chai fusion, which is a big hit. Everyone loves the chai fusion, and our Java rye, which is huge news because we don't do things in a very traditional way.
Not with those.
That's why I have no doubts that the Auburn Reserve will be approved, because these 2 were the ones we were worried about, because we flavor things in a different way. We use barrels. It's a type of infusing. We're not even sure what to call it because we don't know anyone that's doing anything like this.
Yeah.
So to try to explain to the federal government that we're doing something a little different, like, it took Colin a little bit of time to, I'm going through the process, and which I'll get into in a minute because that process was wild. But I needed to figure out how to describe what we were doing.
Yeah,
and I was like,
hard.
It is. Yeah. And I go, Colin, you're better with your words. Like, you take care of this part. And you did. And I don't know. I want to thank you, Colin, for doing that, because without your wording and how you did it, who knows if we would have gotten approved. And it was a big deal. Like, this was the biggest deal that we've had since our DSP getting approved,
so,
which is absolutely insane. Like, also without any questions, they never emailed us about. They didn't have any questions for us.
They were just good to go.
They're good to go, and I was like, oh my god, that was insane. So everything's good to go with those two products.
Yeah, and so just also to have everybody understand why this is such a big deal, because we've been experimenting and building up this company for almost 5 years now.
It's been 5 years.
Technically almost 5 years. I mean, we've only been incorporated for 2, but everything that everybody has tried to this point, whether whatever kind of sample that we've made and all the various things that we've done, could be different whenever all of our products are officially approved, because the government could have come in and said, no, you can't do it this way, or something has to change, And so because of that, we've also, we haven't been able to make large quantities of our product because of this. Like, so every single time that we've had samples, they're made, very, very small batches, very small barrels, because you can't make like 200 gallons at a time of something if the government comes back and says, you can't do it this way, or we don't approve this. Now
Right.
that those two products got that blessing, though, it's official. Like, these are products that we can make. We already know that they're approved, so we can ramp up production. And officially, when we get our liquor license, you know, whenever that happens, maybe in the year 2022 or the year 3022, right, because it's been so long.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens, we now know that those products are officially going to be available, or we will be able to make them available. We still got to finish them. You know, we got to
Yeah.
make them, bottle them, finish all that stuff. There's still a lot of work to do, but this is definitely the biggest achievement. Yeah, like you said, since we actually got our permit to operate.
Yeah.
A big, big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the whole process was, there's a lot of people that ask, so I'll kind of go through the whole process because it's a crazy story. And very interesting for people that are interested in the, you know, especially people that are interested in learning how to start a distillery or just want to know what we've been up to. Because without your Patreon, you know, subscriptions, we would not be able to do this. Like, we just paid,
definitely
not as easily. We could, but it would be a lot harder and it'd take a lot more time. So I think that you guys, you know, deserve to know what we've been doing with your money that you're giving us, and just kind of give you updates.
Yeah.
So it kind of started with, you know, Colin's been amazingly working out the labels and how we want the labels to be, want labels to look like. And I was going back and forth with some like labeling companies, and they're just it's expensive. And this was like, I don't know, a few months ago, I was going back and forth with those people, and we're like, well, we can't even pull the trigger on getting labels made because the labels need to be approved by the federal government, the TTB.
Yep, that's next.
That's next. So I was like, okay, well, that's a big cost, right? Like, we had a certain amount of money in our bank account because of Patreon. And we're like, well, we could either get more supplies, we can get labels with this money. And we're like kind of going through our options. And I was like, all right, well, let's see what the process is to, and I think I just did this on my own because I was just curious. I was like, what is the process to get our labels approved? And because, you know, that could be something while we're waiting for New York State to approve, we have to be doing something. So my bored mind, I was like, let me look into it. So I go to the TTB website. Turns out you need to be approved and accepted into the TTB website, even though, so it's hard to explain. So you have the TTB login information, right? And that gets you to submit permits and that sort of thing. But there's also a formulas permit, which we were just talking about, that we got approved for. And there's also what they call a colas, and that's our labels. I think the L in cola stands for label. I don't know what the COA stands for, but
I don't know what that stands for either. I'm gonna look it up.
Certificate of Labels Association.
Yeah,
I don't know.
certificate of label approval.
Approval. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so you need to go to the website. You have to apply to be part of the website. Once you're in the website, you need to apply to be a part of the colas website. And then you also need to apply to be a part of the formulas website. And once you're on there, then you can hand in your labels to be approved for those labels. Like, it just every step of the way, you need approval. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I go and I'm trying to figure out the labeling thing. And I try to, you know, sign up for our colas, so I can look to see what the process is like for that. And they're like, before you do that, you need your formulas. And I was like, okay. So I go and I sign us up and we get approved to just be a part of the formulas website. I was like, cool, we got approved for something. That's great.
Yeah.
And then I'm going through the formulas process. And before you do your labels, you need your formulas. Okay. So we're going through the formulas.
Yeah, we can't make a label for something that isn't approved.
Right.
That would be putting a cart before a horse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once we get approved for that, and then you're allowed to apply for your colas just to be part of that website. So we get approved for both. I'm like, awesome. when you're going, so I'm going through the colas, the labels process. I'm going through, and you can't get past a certain page without a formula ID number.
Right.
And I was like,
Right.
okay. So I have to go back to formulas, see if I can get approved for those. And then it's not a big surprise to anyone. We've been talking about this for 5 years that we don't actually distill anything. So we buy neutral grain. Yeah, not yet. We buy neutral grain spirits from another company, and we take it and we turn it into our product. Like there's still a lot of work to do. We don't just like buy someone's product and slap our name on it. We do a lot of work to dilute, to age, to flavor, to make it taste like whiskey. All right. Because I tell you, it does not taste like whiskey when it comes.
Yeah, they're just making stuff for us while we ramp up our own operation.
Yes. So in order to get your formulas, because we're doing it that way, we need the other company's formula ID number to put in so that the TTB knows the formulas they use for that spirit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, backtracking again. So Colin and I had a discussion. We actually were going to see Jared and deliver a kit to him, and we got some PMA cheese. And I remember in that car ride, we were like, well, we're gonna have to like figure out if we can afford to buy some booze. And we did. We had enough money in our account to buy the spirits that we needed. And I think just for money's sake, we had money, but not a lot of money. So we can afford this specific kind. And it luckily was the corn whiskey that we use to make our chai. So that came up. That was kind of big news because we're like, okay, that's the first one we'll go to market with. So that was a big deal. Like we're like, hold on, okay, we know the first product that's going to be on the shelf is our chai fusion.
Yeah.
So I contact this company and I say, hey, do you have your formula ID number for this corn distillate? And they're like, you need to buy it before we give you that information. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So we talk, we're like, we're going to pull the trigger and buying this whiskey or the distillate.
They couldn't make it easy.
Couldn't make it easy. And I'm like, okay, we're ready to pull the trigger. And they say, okay, you need a transfer and bond permit that you need to contact the TTB for. And I'm like, oh my God, all I want to do is get these labels approved. And I can't do that. I need to go to formulas. I can't do that. I need to go buy this thing. I can't do that. I need another form telling me, I think it's so that they can ship it over state lines. I'm not really sure what the transfer
They need
bond
forms to fill out other forms.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very complicated.
Yes. So the TTB, anytime that we've tried to talk to them, they've been excellent.
Yeah, they really have.
Every form we have to fill out is free. There's no cost to do anything. Every time you call them, someone actually answers the phone and you can talk to somebody. And I wasn't really sure how to, but I will say, as much as we love the TTB and how helpful they are, their website's a little confusing.
Their website is not exactly world-class designer,
right,
built or anything.
Right. So I get a hold of someone at the TTB. They walk me through the process, and usually it's a 14-day waiting period on your transfer and bond.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to a woman named Carol when we were going through our DSP permit. And I remember we were waiting for months, and all I had to do was call and someone walked me through the process, and they're like, you're approved. And I remembered that. So I called this gentleman named Scott back, and I was like, hey, can you talk me through the process? He goes, yeah, no problem. We walk through it. He fills it out. He signs it. We're approved within an hour.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. I'm like, oh my God, we just skipped the line.
Service, right?
Yes, it's amazing. So thank you, Scott, from the TTB. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we're finally approved for our transfer and bond permit, which means we can now buy the corn distillate to make our chai fusion. Yeah. So we buy it, we get the formula ID number, we throw it in to the formula application, and within a few days of handing that in, we get approved. And because we already had the transfer and bond, Now we can get formula ID numbers for any of their products because we are now a customer. So I took the formula ID number for their rye and I threw it in, and I filled out the form for the formulas for the Java rye, and a couple days later we were approved for that too. So that was a busy week of paperwork and phone calls, and it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
because I don't know if you caught that, but that means we ordered a 55-gallon drum of corn distillate, and it comes in these big plastic tubs, and we're legally not supposed to store in plastic. So when it comes, we have to do something with it and get it out of that barrel. So guess what? We took those big barrels that everyone's been at the shop. You see, they've been empty for 3 years, and we filled them up.
They're good to go.
They're good to go. We cured the barrels. We threw the whiskey in there. We bought some big stainless steel drums. We have that as storage. Everything is good to go. And we have now started aging product that will be, hopefully, on liquor store shelves. Like the stuff that's in this barrel will be
that is a final
at
product.
a bar. That is the final.
Well, it will become a final product. So one thing you didn't mention about this is the distillate is like 140 proof.
It is, yeah.
So
70% alcohol.
FYI, we're not going to be selling anything that's 140 proof. We don't want you to breathe fire.
Yeah.
But it will make its way after a long process.
Oh, yeah.
It will finally be a Chai Fusion small 80 proof bottle.
Yeah.
Well, not small. 750 milliliters is not small, but
yeah. So the job description for each of us, everyone kind of does a little bit of everything here, but we know our strengths. Like paperwork is not my strength. Unfortunately, it's Colin's. Well, it's more of a strength than it is to me. So Colin deals with our attorney and all the paperwork, and he makes sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Caleb's the people person. Not that we aren't, but he'll be dealing with. He'll probably. He's he's people-y. He'll probably be dealing with a lot of sales and being the face and going in and being our rep. He's in bars every day playing gigs, so he's gonna kind of be our rep. And I kind of handle operations. I'm the one that lives the closest to the shop, so when things are getting delivered, I gotta be there.
Yeah.
And this week, the last 2 weeks have been crazy. There was a shipment issue with this corn distillate, and it was coming from Missouri, but then at one point it was in Colorado, which is west, and then it took an extra day, and then the weekend happened. It was just a mess. FedEx was not the best, I will say, but we got it. It's amazing. I've only cured things, and the biggest size that we've ever done was 5 liters, and now we're jumping to 15 gallons. So it was just, honestly, I kind of got emotional because it's like, this is the first time, like I'm learning how to do the job that I've always wanted doing this. And like seeing it all done and seeing these barrels that are filled with whiskey that will be on bar shelves and liquor stores and that sort of thing. I was like, oh my God, like this is the start of everything. Yeah. And it was really cool learning the process. And as much as it, like, I did it alone, but I'm kind of glad that I did. That way I can kind of like have those frustration moments by myself and kind of work through them. That way, when we do this and you guys are involved, like I can be like, well, I did it this way. Let me hear your ideas to make this better. But curing barrels and chai and those big, like 45 gallons altogether of chai spices was it. The distillery smelled so good.
Yeah, that has to smell amazing. It was unfortunate the time. So the timing that this happened also, because originally, we were planning on this being a day that we were off. We could all join in on this, and then that shipping issue where it was in one state and then it was going the wrong direction and whatever. And then it showed up like 3 days later in the middle of the day when, well, I don't know if nobody was available. You were clearly available.
I was, yeah.
but neither Caleb nor I were available, so you had to do it by yourself. But
Yeah.
you got to enjoy what that smelled like all by yourself.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. And so we have this like electric, it's actually a bottler that it takes stuff out of barrels and it runs it through a couple filters and it bottles the bottles. But it's also a great pump. So when we're curing barrels and the water and stuff, where I'm filling buckets of water and the pump's going through and getting it into the barrel, with the chai spices, it's they kind of clump together, the chai spices do. And I didn't want to ruin the bottler by clumping that up and having it dirty. And I knew I was going to have to throw a whiskey in there at some point, and I just didn't want another filtering thing. So I didn't use the bottler for that, but I just had to like turn the barrels over and have it dump out on the floor. It was wild. It was just like, because, a lot of people have been to the shop, but they probably only been to that first part where we've had openings. And so you probably haven't really experienced the back like operations area, but they're like sunken floors. They're kind of like, they all lead to a drain. So it's perfect for that. Yeah. But like the clumpiness where I was like, had to like pick up with my hands, and then the mopping was just like, I'm like, oh my God, like it was a lot of work and kind of funny. But it just made the whole place smell so good.
Yeah. So I guess one thing, for everybody is we're going to have, now that we have something aging in large barrels that we haven't before, we now on the fly have to figure out like the cleanup process for all.
Yeah.
Like, how do we do that properly? Because before, we've always been doing this in smaller, like 5-liter barrels or so, that make very small batches. That is something that you can easily just hold, clean on your own.
You can pick it up and you can pick it up and put it down your sink.
We've always been able to do that on our own without help, but you can't just carry a 15-gallon barrel of liquid.
No,
we are not, we are people not of that type of strength.
Yeah, not at all. So it was tough. And also when the corn distillate came in, it was in a 55-gallon plastic tub and it weighed over 400 pounds. With the skid, it was 500 pounds, I think, or 480 pounds. And I was like, so putting that on a dolly and trying to wheel it through the parking lot, because the skid wouldn't fit through the door. We don't have bay doors or anything. So I had to take it off the skid outside, put it on a dolly. Ruby, I will say, my girlfriend, Molly's daughter, she was with me when it came in, and I could not have done it without her. Like I had to put this piece of wood down to make a makeshift ramp to get it up the thing, and she's just heavy enough to stand on it and hold it down, because every time I hit it with the dolly, it would fly off or something like that. I would not have, and I'm not just exaggerating, I'm not trying to make her feel good, I legit could not do it without her. I lifted up I'm not a strong man at all, but I somehow lifted 2 wheels off of the dolly with this big drum, and she slid the piece of wood under it so I could get it up. She was a huge help. She's the best. So thank you so much, Ruby. You made it so that we can sell whiskey in the future.
Yes. And there is a bottle reserved for you that in 13 years or so you can have.
So it was just a wild, I've never sweated that much before in my life.
Sounds like a good workout.
Yeah, it was a great workout. But can someone please be there next time? It'd be great.
Well, next time, so here's the thing about all of this as well. Things of this nature have tracking. We knew exactly when it was supposed to arrive, and
it didn't.
We had coordinated that we would be available to do all this stuff, and that's where this whole FedEx nonsense happened. So the situation was, because Nick, what you didn't also tell everybody is that you actually contacted post office about this and be like, where's my order?
Over and over. I talked to
because the issue was, if memory serves, they put it on the wrong truck.
Yeah.
It's like, so I remember when you told me that like they put it on the wrong truck, for whatever reason, my mind went to the movie Dumb and Dumber,
Okay.
where like they switch driving and they're gonna go like they like, I think like Harry stops driving, gives it back to Lloyd. Lloyd is Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey like takes the wrong exit, and rather than
Oh,
going
yeah.
towards Colorado, goes the opposite direction and goes back to Nebraska. And then they
Yeah.
realized that they had driven like 1,000 miles in the wrong direction. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I assumed happened.
Yeah.
Is somebody did that.
Oh, it got even weirder than that because it was supposed to come in on a Friday, and I waited 9 hours at the shop and I was calling, and they said it was on track
Right.
for delivery, and they weren't updating. I couldn't get like, there's no GPS on it, so I don't know exactly where the truck is. I just know the day it's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I get to the shop at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm there till 7, something like that. I don't know. And so I call and I go, do you know where this is? They're like, yeah, it's heading to the East Syracuse facility, and it'll be out on delivery today. It should be there before 7:00 or something like that. It's like, okay. And then the computer system went down at FedEx, and I could not open my app, like the FedEx tracking thing. It just said pending. So I called back, and they're like, yeah, it's at East Syracuse right now. It's in East Syracuse. This is Friday, by the way. And I go, oh, okay. I was like, is it going to be out for delivery? And they're like, let me check. And they're like, it might be, but worst comes to worst, would be there on Monday. And I go, okay, not a big deal. That happens. Delays happen. And it was a Friday to a Monday. Yeah, and Monday would have been fine. Sure.
That was okay. Yeah.
That was fine. And yeah, because you actually have Monday off. You're like, I could beat that.
Yeah, I took Monday off.
Yeah.
Like, I could do this.
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay. And then they eventually, they're like, it's definitely going to be there Monday. And I was like, okay. And so I went home. I was like, it sucks. Whatever. I just wasted the day, but whatever. Delays happen. I wasn't that upset about it. Over the weekend, I looked, and it said our package was in Nebraska. So this really is Dumb and Dumber all over again.
Yeah. Because they went to Nebraska.
Yeah. So, which is really funny because what happens on Monday is crazy. So all weekend it said it was in a facility in Nebraska. And I was like, maybe this has something to do with their computer systems being down, because I had someone verbally over the phone tell me it was in East Syracuse, which if you're in like the Arizona Patreon members or the North Carolina Patreon members or wherever, East Syracuse is only like 50 minutes away from where we are. So it's really like, that's like the big hub. Like it was going to be there that day, Yeah. So okay, Monday morning happens. I wake up, I drop Ruby off at day camp at like 8 a.m. I go to the shop, and I'm waiting, and I'm like, okay, it still says it's in Nebraska. Let me call and figure this out. I call, and I was like, hey, you told me last time that it should be out for delivery this morning. I'm just want to know when you think it's going to be here. And they're like, let me look into it. They're like, no, it's in Nebraska. I was like, that's what my tracking says too, but I know your systems went down. Someone on the phone told me on Friday that it was in East Syracuse. And they're like, no, it's heading towards Colorado, which is also pretty funny because Colorado, Nebraska.
Colorado.
Yeah. And I was like, that's the wrong way. Like it started in Missouri, by the way.
Yeah. So why even is it in Colorado? We're sending it to New York.
Even Nebraska is more west than where we're going. Like, I'm like, none of this makes sense. And so I'm like, what is happening right now? They're like, let me just double check something. Like, okay. So they get back, they're like, I think it's in East Syracuse. And I go, you think? Like, is it out for delivery? If it's in East Syracuse, it's been there since Monday. Is it coming? Yeah. They could not give me the right information. So finally I talked to somebody, and they're like, no, this is what happened. I'll give you the actual tracking. Something got messed up and it got put on the wrong truck. And it was heading west, but they caught it and now it's heading east. I'm like, okay. So a few hours later, I see that it's now in Illinois or something, right? And I'm like, okay, it's heading west. And then that's where I left it off with you guys. I was like, it's not going to get here for a couple more days.
It's not going to be here. We're not going to,
Yeah. So finally it was like Wednesday night.
A full like 5 days after we originally thought it was going to come.
Wednesday nights. I'm trying to think what it was. Maybe it was Tuesday night. So that was Monday morning. Tuesday night, I get a notification because I signed up for the text because I was like, I'm just gonna wait for them to text me,
Yeah, absolutely. At that point,
it was like 10 p.m. or something like that. It was in East Syracuse. So I call because the distribution center is open 24 hours. There's at least someone there 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I call, I get through to somebody, and it's so big, it was traveling through freight. So I go, is it there? Can you confirm? They're like, it is here. It'll be out for delivery tomorrow. And I go, you can confirm this? He goes, yes. And so I go, okay. So Wednesday morning, I call again. And I actually have, it says, will be delivered between 8:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. And I'm like, great. It'll be here before 2 o'clock. So I'll go to the shop. It's going to be great. I drop Ruby off at camp again. And she needs to be picked up at 3, and someone needs to be at the shop. And then I contact you guys and you're like, well, today doesn't work for me. Like, you were busy all day.
I have to work.
Yeah. And so did Caleb,
we got our side hustles, that we do to earn our own living.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm like, no problem. At least I can be here. The only time I was worried about is when I had to go pick up Ruby again.
Right.
So it's like 1:45 and it's still not there. And I'm like, oh my God, if it's in Nebraska again, I'm gonna freaking
the Groundhog's Day all over.
Yeah. So it's like just about 2 o'clock. I call and I was like, it's supposed to be here before 2. It's just 2 o'clock now. Do you know where it is? And they're like, I was like, do you have GPS on? Like, can you tell me exactly where it is? And the guy was very nice. He goes, I can tell you where it is. He goes, it's in Auburn, but the truck driver took us lunch break. And I was like, okay. When does he get off lunch? He goes, 3 o'clock. And I go, okay. I was like, how many deliveries? He goes, there's one more before you. I was like, perfect. I got to pick Ruby up at 3. I pick Ruby up. We go right back to the shop. And within 30 minutes, it was there. And I was like, oh my God, I could have cried. It was there. Oh my God.
You've done it.
Yeah. But that was the whole shipping debacle.
Let's hope for everyone's sake that this is smoother in the future.
It has to.
Because otherwise, Nick's handsome haircut is going to turn into a handsome, bald man. And that's not good.
I don't know if I'll go bald. I'll definitely get more grays though. That's for sure.
Yeah, you go gray. Your hair will start thinning. We're gonna probably have the same hair because mine is, we're getting old now. So mine's thinning. I mean, I just haven't done my hair today, but it's a mess. It's an absolute mess.
But
I shouldn't even be on camera.
Yeah. But yeah, getting it through the door was an ordeal. Once I got it through the door, I was very emotional this week. And I almost freaking cried when I got it through and over towards the barrels. I was like, oh my God. But that was great. And then I dumped all the chai out. The worst thing that could have happened was me thinking it was going to get there on Friday and then dumping all the chai out of the barrels. And then having
early.
Then having like them dry out and have to re-cure again. That would have been awful.
Miserable.
Yeah. But that didn't happen. And now we have whiskey in barrels and we're very excited about it. There's still a lot more work to do. When they're ready and done aging, it's still at 140 proof. It probably went down to 135 because there's water in the barrels, but it needs to be diluted,
quite a
filtered.
process.
Yeah. we have to figure out where we're going to put it. Do we buy how many bottles we need to buy? But we will have a lot of try whiskey coming soon. I promise.
Yeah. So when we get our liquor license, we will have cases abound.
Yes. Yeah. And I can't wait to start this whole process again with the Java Rye, but we need barrels. We need more money. Thankfully to our Patreon members, it wouldn't take that long. We just, whew. But it was an amazing learning experience. I will say it was an amazing learning experience. I've never spent that much time in the shop before. I spent like 8 hours a day for like 3 weeks at the shop. It was, it was crazy.
It's going to ramp up.
Yeah,
that's why we're here. And now I mean, between the last, well, I guess since our liquor license application went through or got sent, it's been pretty quiet.
Yeah.
But now the last few weeks, like operationally, it's just like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
So it's like soon we're actually going to be full swing where we might be in the shop a lot more.
Yeah.
Because we gotta, age more product, or we're going to be processing something, bottling things, trying to figure out how the hell we're going to put labels on things.
Yeah.
We don't have a labeling machine, guys. All distilleries or like big companies, they have a machine that does it. It's very expensive. And they also get a machine because they produce a lot more stuff. Like
that's
we're
true.
Probably going to be applying our labels by hand. For quite a while.
Yeah, what's funny is that last time I went to Meyer Farms, which is a great distillery we've been to a couple times.
Yep.
Last time I was there, I saw this woman sitting in the corner of the distillery, just hand labeling everything. So even a successful
place
bigger
like
than
that,
us,
they're doing it by hand.
They're still doing it by hand, and it was great to see that. I was like, oh, cool. Like, they're kind of where we are, So yeah, not a big deal. The three of us can hammer out 1,000 bottles.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah,
totally
but things are ramping up, and we're excited. A little exhausted, but we're excited, and
also because of that, because there's been so much going on there, we've been a little slow with our podcast stuff.
Yes.
A little slow with our newsletter stuff. Like usually those come out a little bit earlier in the month.
Yeah.
But with all these things happening that we've had to devote a lot of attention to kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of out of nowhere. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's why that stuff is kind of, or why this like being recording now. Going out a little later than usual. So
and another reason why Caleb isn't here too. It's just like we had to get this done. But he will be on the second half doing our mystery whiskey, which we're excited about. And I don't know what it is. Molly picked it out. It's my turn. Like it's our, but Molly picked it out and I'm excited for it. I know no information.
Yeah. I guess we know one thing. It is a brownish liquid.
Nice.
We are that far in.
Yeah. But we're still on track for all of the Zoom calls. Tomorrow we have a cocktail class. We will never stop doing those. Even when we're fully operational, if people want to keep participating in our Patreon, I'll still keep doing the cocktail classes.
Those remain on schedule. That never changes.
That never changes.
That is something that we will make sure never gets impacted.
Yes. So we're still on cue for that. I can't wait to meet. We still haven't met Lacey yet, but she says she's going to be part of the cocktail class. Excited to meet you, Lacey. Excited to have Joe and Teresa on the call. And Kari's back. Shout out to Kari.
Yeah.
Kari left the Patreon for personal reasons, but she's back and she promised us she'd be back, and she is back. And I love you. So thank you so much for being so supportive. Kari's been like day one. Back when we're doing like samples at Singer Stocks and
she has been a supporter for a very long time. And Caleb had like a basement show, and you and I went and sold some. And we were bartending there.
Bartending there. Kari was part of that too, and so thank you so much.
5 years ago.
That was so long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But excited for it. The Burberita is coming up. Also, Whiskey Wednesday is back in September. That was a lot of fun. I think Wednesday, it works out to be a September 14th,
Yep,
I
the
believe.
14th.
The 14th. So if you're listening to this, make sure you're on the call for that. That's so fun.
2.5 weeks.
Yes. If you are listening to this in the $5 tier, you're invited. $3 tiers, you can't get the podcast, but you are invited to. Anyone at any level can join our Whiskey Wednesday. You pick the booze you want to drink. You chat with us. We'll talk about whatever pops up. It's just fun. It's just like a fun discussion.
It is fun. It was a really enjoyable time just to get to hang out, see people that we don't normally get to see.
Yeah.
And I would describe it as a hoot.
It was a hoot and a half.
It was a hoot and a half.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that's all I mean, I know we just talked for a while, but
well, I mean, we actually we buried the lead with all the big stuff.
Yeah.
That probably put a lot of people to sleep because they're like, you're talking about shipping woes and stuff. It's like, this isn't very exciting. Like, I wanted adventure and danger. Like, there was a rattlesnake in the shop and you fought it or whatever. But, that type of thing just doesn't really happen.
Well, small side story is that because I had the door open for so long to try to get the big drum of distillate in, a bee got into the shop, and that's
terrifying.
That's just I mean,
did
that
you
was
have
scary.
an EpiPen handy? Because if not, like,
no, I did have a fly swatter, and I got it.
Well, that's good. That's good too. Yeah.
But that was, I know, a long-winded conversation, and but
we're very important. That's why we have these conversations.
Yes.
Status.
And that we, like, if you're listening to this and you're wondering what's going on there, I don't want to have to repeat that story because it took 20 minutes to tell it. So there you go.
Yeah, it's recorded.
Yeah.
You can listen to it.
Yeah. What do you got? What do you got going on? Anything?
Nothing. I'm just honestly really excited for this Burberita 2, the sequel. Yeah. It's just, I'm excited for that just because a lot of people have talked it up over the last year.
I know. I'm a little nervous, to be honest.
Which I'm flattered about, obviously. If it sets a high expectation. But the thing is, it's like the people who have not gotten to try that because they have been newer Patreon members, they never experienced this. They just heard about this mythical drink.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. One, because I expect it to be really good because it seems really hard to mess this up. Really hard. It's a simple drink to make, but just because so many people never got to try something like that, and it is so damn hot outside right now, like this is absolutely perfect. Like it's supposed to be like 92 degrees over here on Tuesday.
I know.
So this is the right time to have this drink.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for our Arizona people, I know it's Monday and it's going to be 5:00 your time, but that's the perfect time to have a drink. It's 5:00.
I mean, right? You're going to be done with work, right?
Yeah.
And you absolutely need a drink after that.
Yeah, it's going to be Arizona weather in New York tomorrow.
Right. Which means it's probably going to be like 200 degrees there, but
yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
But we're excited for it. We'll see you tomorrow. Actually, this won't be posted beforehand because we're going to do the whiskey, mystery whiskey.
Yeah, we still have to record our mystery whiskey, which we will record tomorrow.
So hopefully, if you're listening, hopefully you enjoyed the Burberita. So
yeah. If you're listening to this retroactively, we hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right, then let's end. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Oh, the cocktail class is cocktail class number 20, which is kind of a big thing.
That is kind of a milestone, yeah.
Yeah. Next month is the legal age.
Right. So we're going to have a virgin cocktail with no
good one.
Yeah. We'll have sour mix and other shit that we got from all these various cocktails and have no booze.
Yeah. All right, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for subscribing. We love you all. Goodbye.
Do it.
All right. Welcome back to the Cellarmen's Folly podcast. We have talked for this is going to be a long podcast. We talked for like over an hour, Colin and I, about all the TTB stuff that we were just dealing with. Oh, nice. But now it's time for our favorite segment, the mystery whiskey.
Yeah, the segment that doesn't have needless rambling.
Yes.
So none of us know what this is.
No, Molly got it, and she'll pop in a minute and tell us what the bottle is. She just poured me this nice glass. Yeah, you guys have it. I know nothing about it. Just because she used our account to buy it, I know it's like $35. So a pretty good range, but that doesn't say anything. You can get really good whiskey for $35.
Sure.
You know, it's like anything under 20, you're like, nah, but anything between like 25 and 50 is like, you can get some really good stuff, but you could also get some, maybe not.
Or you can get that one I got us last time for 80.
Well, that's up to you.
No, that I'm saying I didn't really care for it. I just wanted to do something crazy.
So that is the only thing I know about this, is that it was like roughly $35, I believe. So know nothing about it. I'm excited to try it. I haven't even smelled it. She poured the glass and put it up here, and it's just been sitting in front of me for the last 10 minutes. So I'm excited to drink this. Should we dive right in? Do you guys have any other questions? Do you have? What do you
Let's
got?
hop to it.
Let's hop to
I
it.
don't have. I'm just gonna drink mine right out of here, bare bones.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool. Cheers, guys, to another mystery whiskey. This is. I didn't count. I know you asked me to count how many mystery whiskeys this is, but it's got to be 17 or 18 or something.
Yeah, let's just say it's almost an adult.
Yeah, right. Cheers, boys.
Cheers. I'm gonna smell it first.
Ooh, it smells good. It smells smooth.
It does smell good.
It does.
Well, I take so initial smell is really nice, but then if you like stick your nose in the glass, you're just getting fumes.
Really? I'm not getting that.
I mean, a little bit if you.
But it's not in an unpleasant way. It's not like, say, sticking your nose in the glass and it's a like barrel proof bottle of anything. It's not like that time, which what was last time?
Yeah, that's the one I was talking
That
about.
was literally last time.
That much,
no, definitely different. I almost kind of get. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. Do you guys smell green apple in here at all? Like faintly?
A little bit, but that could be apple, but that also could just be like.
I smell something kind of fruity, but I don't know.
It could just be that yeast.
I'm not saying it's like a flavored whiskey. I'm just saying I get like the notes of that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
Let's dive in.
This is awesome. Whatever this is.
That was really good.
Very smooth.
That is really good. Burns a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah, it's smooth. It could be a higher proof.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy though. I don't think it's over 100.
No.
It's like too smooth to be like that way. Single grain, I'm gonna go with.
I think it's maybe it's a little higher than 80. I'm gonna go with just regular 80.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't get too much burn. That'd be really funny if she gave us all 3 different kinds of whiskey. That would be hilarious.
My second sip, I didn't get this in my first sip. My second sip, I almost got like a peppery flavor.
Oh, it looks like Jared's about to join us on that. What up?
Yeah,
you're welcome to hang out.
Slipped into our secret meeting.
What's up, buddy? Jared, you look good, dude. You look great.
Everybody, we have a surprise special guest. Surprise even to us for our podcast.
I didn't plan on sticking around. I was just popping in with the button.
Well, welcome.
You guys
Jared.
enjoy this. Yeah, I gotta take the routes.
Hell yeah.
Huh? Hey,
hell yeah.
I just didn't want to fuck up. See you guys in like 15.
See ya.
Peace.
Cheers.
Jared is our first guest on the podcast, everybody. So okay, let's see here. I think it's single grain. It tastes like a not a Scotch, but definitely like a single malt, I think.
Yeah.
I don't get rye. I don't know if the sweetness is corn. It doesn't taste like, if there's no rye and there's corn in it, usually there's a specific corn whiskey taste. And I don't get that either. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's barley.
Yeah.
Because barley can be sweet.
It doesn't taste very sweet.
I think it does.
I don't think it tastes all that sweet. Not like corn sweet.
No.
It smelled sweeter than it tastes, I think.
Yeah.
It smells so good, dude. I love this.
I think it's really good. Yeah, I think it's really good.
But I mean, it could be Japanese.
It could be, yeah. I mean, so I thought it was Japanese on the first sip,
Yeah.
but it's very rare to see a Japanese bottle at that price point.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just, I mean, I think honestly, because like Suntory bottles, like buying Hibiki like 5-6 years ago was maybe $50.
Yeah.
Now like regular like Hibiki is like 75. And I think just import costs are driving that up and whatever. So like if you find a $30 bottle of Japanese whiskey, that seems really hard.
That is true. Yeah. So another good option that could be, if it is single malts, Irish whiskey can be cheap.
Yeah. I was thinking it might be Irish whiskey myself. Like, cause Irish whiskey is usually like pretty, like there's no nonsense to it.
Yeah.
Which is
You
great.
don't get like
Yeah.
outside of the curveball I threw you guys a couple months ago.
Yeah. That was
Which is excellent. Yeah, we're
Yes.
talking about Connemara.
Yes, and which is the peated Irish.
Yeah, the
whiskey, which is
peated Irish whiskey. Fantastic stuff. But other than that, like your run-of-the-mill Irish whiskeys typically do not have anything fancy about them. Now that said, this is going to be my guess, and it's going to be very specific. I do think it's an Irish whiskey, and I'm going to be completely fucking wrong, but we think it's sweet. It's sweeter on the nose than on the palate, and we know the price point. So I am actually going to guess the.
Do you think it's a repeat? Do you think it's that Tullamore?
No, I don't think it's a
that's
repeat.
Aged
No, I
in the
don't
cider.
No.
Honestly, that would make sense, right? Because it's an Irish whiskey, and for me, I got apple on it, and that was aged in a cider barrel.
Yeah.
That'd be really funny. But no, okay, sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, that's okay. That's okay. But I actually think it could be the sherry cask McConnell's whiskey.
Oh my God. What's funny is that it could be.
I mean, like I said, it's really rare that we have a really specific guess, and that's a whiskey that I've never had.
I'll come up with a specific guess too then.
Yeah, but it just feels like it tastes like an Irish whiskey, but it smells really sweet. Like this smells like
but
something kind of familiar.
Yeah.
But I know the
Sherry
price
has,
point is going to be kind of low.
Almost. We're trying to guess. So I don't.
I also just finished the glass.
Yeah,
It was great.
Oh wow, you finished it. So I I can't guess a brand, but we're honing in on Irish whiskey. But it's, have we tried it?
No.
I'm
You wanna
not.
try it?
Sure.
Oh, you have it right there. I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
I'm guessing something completely different than you guys.
What are you guessing, Caleb?
Yeah, what do you guess?
I'm gonna guess that it's a Scotch.
You think it's a Scotch? You know what? There's been sweet scotches like a Johnny Walker.
I'm gonna go-
this could be like a.
I'm
this
gonna go
could
with
be like
Glenmorangie.
a Highland
Glenmorangie.
Scotch. Yeah.
Glenmorangie Scotch.
Glenmorangie.
Meringue.
Yeah. I'm still gonna say Irish whiskey. I can't guess a brand. I know Colin has his number on it. It is sweeter than the Irish whiskey, so maybe it's finished in something.
I'm just trying to go against the grain.
Good one.
One of us can't be, one of us can't be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we probably will all be wrong. Yeah.
I'll do a single malt Glenmorangie
Yeah.
Scotch.
Okay. I'm going Irish, but generic. I can't give you a brand. It's
Maybe,
not Jameson. I don't
maybe-
think it's regular McConnell's. He thinks it's the McConnell's that's aged in sherry casks. And
maybe 5 to 10 year.
yeah, I don't have a year on it either. I'm gonna say a little higher proof because there is that bite. So I'm gonna say maybe 85 proof. Nothing over 90, I don't think. That's me. That's my guess.
I'm gonna stick with
Are
a
you,
regular.
and Colin, are you sticking to?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah,
Let's find out.
I'm ready to be wrong.
Powers Irish whiskey. Oh, you're right. You're right with the Irish.
You guys got it.
Powers. I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of that either.
Oh, 43.2
Wow.
proof.
Okay.
I almost had it. Almost had it. It's a little stronger. I could taste. Have some.
It's really good.
It is really
It's
good. I like
really
it,
good.
especially
Um,
for the price point.
Yeah, it was 35.
Yeah.
35, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only information I had for it. It doesn't say what how long it's aged. 43.
It doesn't say the year.
No,
at all?
it does not. No.
Wow.
This is a full liter.
Mhm.
Liter for 35, which is pretty.
And that's a single malt. Is that what?
Most Irish is. I'm gonna go ahead and say it is.
Okay.
Irish whiskey is usually unmalted barley. Usually. But it has very little information on it, so we'd have to do some more info. It just says Irish whiskey Powers, established in 1791, gold label, whatever that is.
Better
Yeah.
than the silver, I guess, right?
Better than silver.
Better than silver, better than bronze.
Yeah, it's very good. Great pick, babe.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is a really
Yeah.
good one.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well,
So
who's got? I know I'm not getting anything. You guys splitting the point, or you get the whole thing, Nick?
I don't know. Colin, what do you think?
I feel like I deserve half a point.
Okay.
Colin, do you have? Oh, I thought Colin had it.
What? Okay. Why? Tell me why.
Why?
Yeah. What did you say?
I knew in my heart of hearts that this was an Irish whiskey,
Okay.
but I have not. Most of the Irish whiskeys that we've had have not been as sweet.
Yeah.
And I knew that
I mean,
that sherry oak finish whiskey was similar price point.
yeah, that's true.
And it's like, and I knew it's Irish. I was like, this tastes like an Irish whiskey to me. So it seemed like it makes sense, but that's where that begins and ends. Like I knew where it was.
Yeah.
You know, like I picked an Irish whiskey, I think a few times ago, and I was way off. It was like I was tricked into thinking it was Irish. So I was trying to go with something completely different, I guess.
Yeah. That was
Nick, you got the proof pretty much. You nailed it almost.
yeah. I will say I think I deserve a full point.
Yeah, I think you do too, because you also said it was Irish.
I also said it was Irish. I was pretty close on the proof. I knew it was over 40, and I didn't think it was finished in something.
It's true.
And this doesn't say that it was.
So are we going more than a point in total though?
That's true. I don't know.
Well,
Is it
technically,
so?
I mean, if we all got it right, we're not going to split 1 point 3 ways, are we?
No, that's true. That's true. So, okay, then if that's the way we're doing it, I think I get a full point, and then Colin gets a half point for calling Irish. It was, to me, I knew it was impossible to get the brand. I never even heard of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I knew it. I figured it would be true.
But I love experimenting with, everyone at Singers knows that I like Irish whiskey. And for my birthday, a lot of people from Singers got me only Irish whiskey, because it's not that I'm really like that. That's not my go-to usually, but at Singers, the best whiskey that we have, in my opinion, is Tullamore Dew.
Yeah.
So that's what I drink. If I'm at Singers, I drink Tullamore Dew. So people always see me drinking Irish whiskey, so they think so. But I will say that as much Irish whiskey as I got this year, I have not tried this, and it's awesome. Can't wait to add it to the mystery whiskey shelf at the shop.
Nice.
Yep.
We have a list of all of our mystery whiskeys, right? Like we can go back if we don't have them anymore and purchase them for the shop still, right?
Good.
I can easily find them out. Yeah.
Okay.
We
So
don't have
I
a
would
list.
like to eventually have them all there.
Yeah, I don't have a list yet, but pretty soon I'll make one.
Nice.
All right. So full point to
Not
me,
bad.
half a point to Colin. We're not at the shop, obviously, so I don't have the tally in front of me. I don't know. Last time I think we were all tied.
Yeah, you guys have creeped up now.
Yeah.
Slowly and surely.
Yes. But we have to go because the people that are listening, we're going to see you in just a few minutes on the cocktail class. So
yeah.
we're going to drink some Bourbaritas. Hopefully you enjoyed them because this is coming out after the fact, obviously. I have nothing else to say. I said a lot during the real podcast, so I'm done talking.
Until you have to start talking again because you're running the class.
That's true. But for the
Very true.
podcast, we're good. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you to all the subscribers and thanks for supporting us. Yada, yada, yada. We'll see you next time.